Hi, Ken Roberts, President of World City. Welcome to this episode of Trade Matters. Today we're going to look at the top 10 U.S. exports. We'll be looking at through the first 10 months of the year with the latest U.S. Census data. Be sure to follow us on social media. Thank you. Here we go. So the top 10 U.S. exports. Let me step back just for a second and say that through the first 10 months of the year, U.S. trade is down 4.01%. So this year, 2016, will be the second year in a row that U.S. trade has fallen. Very, very unusual in U.S. trade history for the last 20, 25 years. A lot of factors, but the chief factor is, of course, going to be the price of oil and gasoline. We're talking about dollar-denominated trade values. Let's now look at exports and imports. Exports are down 4.78% this year. Imports are down 3.49% this year. So exports are falling a little bit harder. The top 10 U.S. exports, the number one U.S. export is civilian aircraft and parts. A lot of that is going to be Boeing, a lot of that's going to be out of Seattle, but it does involve a number of gateways around the country, airports primarily, but some seaports as well. Export is up 2% this year, so doing well. Number two is gasoline and other fuels, down 17%. It's a long and steep decline and doesn't seem to be abating. My guess, though, is we'll see 2017 there'll be some leveling, if not some increase in those prices. The number three U.S. export, which surprises some people, is motor vehicles. A lot of foreign manufacturers as well as U.S. manufacturers, obviously, now export from the United States. Most of those foreign manufacturers are in the U.S. South, of course. Those exports are down 3% this year. The number four export is motor vehicle parts, and they're down 2%. Number five is computer chips. They're up 4%. Computer chips largely are imported in this country because they're manufactured elsewhere, but there is some manufacturing in this country, and there's certainly value add in this country because we do a lot of high value work in this country in general. The number six U.S. export is cell phones and cell phone type equipment, also for the landline arena. A lot of those are going to be cell phones that are imported and value is added. Cell phones are down 4%. The export of cell phones are down 4%. Number seven is low value shipments. That's an odd sort of category that involves exports that are below a certain threshold, so there's not much data on them. Think of courier type products, usually handled by DHL, FedEx, UPS. They tend to be under a few $100 at a time, so there's limited data on there, but with the rise of e-commerce, they're becoming an increasingly important part of the U.S. trade picture. Number eight, and they're down 5% this year. Number eight is medical instruments, and that can be anything from sutures to MRI machines. Those exports are up 2%. If there's one export in the U.S. that has gone up year after year after year, it's going to be medical devices. That's a very fast-growing and very strong U.S. export, high value. Computer exports are down. The number nine are down 3% this year. The number 10 export is medicine, and quite unusually, those exports are down about 8% this year. A lot of the decline in those exports is to Europe this year. So that's a quick look at the top 10 U.S. exports, and I hope to see you next week. Thank you.